What's going on? What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a good week. Big fight is tomorrow. Teofimo Lopez against Lomachenko, who's going to be the topic of this video. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. I will be covering the fight live tomorrow. Okay, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll probably jump on around 7. Okay, but I will be covering up all of the prelims, you know, how I normally do it, all the pre-fights and the main card. All right, the main card is at 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, regular ESPN, and the prelims start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus if you want to watch it. Okay. All right, listen, I wanted to address this topic. What inspired me to make this video was a conversation I had with one of my best friends, one of my brothers, USA MVP. Some of you may remember him. He used to do videos on boxing. I've done a couple of videos with him in the past. This is like my real life brother. We were chopping it up last night talking about Lomachenko. He thinks Lomachenko is overrated. All right. I think there is some level of overrated in him, but we don't agree, completely agree on, where we see him as being overrated. Now, I've talked about this in several videos before. I talked about the whole Devin Haney thing, the WBC franchise title, all of that. I've addressed it before. But once I've been making, the videos I've been making this week, a lot of people have come out and left comments, and I've been reading the comments, and it's either there's a lot of them that's in the middle, but there's some to the far right and to the far left. There's some people that absolutely believe that Lomachenko is completely overrated and he's not nearly as good as people say he is, and they don't like him. They want him to get knocked out tomorrow night. And then there's the other people that think he's the greatest of all time. They compare him to all the great fighters from before this time, starting with Floyd. I've seen a bunch of Lomachenko's better than Floyd Mayweather. I don't know why Floyd Mayweather is being brought into this conversation, but that's what we're getting. All right. Ali, all of those guys. Robert Martinez, good luck, man. Good luck. I'm gonna get to the comments, but let me speak. You guys can argue it out and battle it out in the comments, but let me say what I have to say. So I wanted to speak on this, and I want to just clear the air, and I wanted to just move on for this conversation. And I wanted to do this before the fight tomorrow because I don't want to base my views on what the outcome of tomorrow night is. All right, whatever the outcome is, I'm give you my stance before the fight tomorrow because I already feel what I feel about Lomachenko. I don't need to wait to see him lose. Like if he is to lose tomorrow, this is how I feel about him today. All right. Now, before we get started, I read a comment from a subscriber. It was it was a well typed out comment. And again, I love you guys because you guys leave really thorough comments. I mean, some of them are like an entire essay on my videos. And I appreciate that because even though it's very time consuming for me to read all the comments and everything, I appreciate that people leave well thought out views. And for the most part, they're respectful. Like 95% of the time, even if we disagree, we speak like adults. It's not like a bunch of children just coming in here leaving little stupid comments. Most of the time, they're real thought out comments. You get some fanboys here and there, but they're well thought out. But I wanted to read this comment because I wanted to respond to it because I've heard a lot of things this brother said. I've heard this many times. I've been here many times before, not just with Lomachenko, but with many, many other fighters. Guys, please get those likes up, please. It's 55 people watching already. We only got 12 likes. Please just get those likes up. Let's get the 50 likes. Let's get those likes up, please. So I'm going to read his comment, and then I'm going to go from there. There's things that I agree with here, and there's things I don't agree with, but I'm going to let you know. Brian R., Mr. Brian R., shout out to you. I really appreciate your honesty and balance on your breakdown of both fighters. I get tired of channels who try to push biased perspectives and hate on people who disagree. To answer your question, here's why myself, as many Black fans, sometimes despise the treatment of Lomachenko. He says, in particular with Mayweather, Ward, and Crawford, ESPN and its writers and analysis have set a biased standard against them over the years. No matter what they accomplish, who they defeated, it was never good enough, right? All three have cried out those same sentiments all throughout their careers. All three fighters have fought and defeated who were great opponents before they fought them, but were then discredited after they won. All three have unblemished records, cleaned out their divisions, have had accomplished everything a legendary fighter should be expected to do. Yet it was not and still not good enough. Then it comes Loma, who accomplished less, has a blemish, considering all three of the name had tough fights, but found ways to overcome them, has far less fights against far less opponents, and they gave Loma a grandfather pass to go. Moved him to pound for pound #1 with no scrutiny, even have lied and made excuses for him, force feed us his amateur career to just justify his lack of sweet equity and pros, allowed him to duck fighters and gave him a fictitious award to do it when ducking was a blemish for the name 3. So when I or other fighters and fans have a bad taste in their mouth for Loma, it was because we want the bar to remain the same for him as it was and is for the name 3. Loma accepting all of it is a racial slap in the face to them and a long-term sweet equity other fighters have had to earn to gain recognition. Ali, Ray Robinson earned GOAT status in and out of the ring with no support from boxing. Sweet equity, bro. And then he follows up and says, one is overrated when the standards or measurement are purposely lowered to grant a person recognition over others. Who cares? That's him responding to me because I said who cares in my video. All of the fighters who chose not to request and accept a duck clause to avoid top competition of their day, image of Ali had of requested that title to avoid Foreman, or Ward avoid Froch, or Dawson, or Floyd to avoid Haddon or Corrales. Truth, there were WBC mandatory rules, standards lowered, broken to award him the F belt, franchise belt. Ask yourself, why did they grant Haney a belt if there was no foul committed? Sweet equity, bro. All right. It was a lot said in these comments, but I've been here before. Some of you remember. I've been here a lot with other fighters because that's my main argument to this point here. I'm not saying that racism is not influence, because we know it is in a lot of ways, or not racism, but race. Race is definitely influence in this sport as in everything else that we love. Okay? We all have our biases as well. And I think people tend to confuse the two because bias is bias, you know, and it doesn't always have to be race bias. All right. But let's start out with this. One of the earlier lines here, Mayweather, Ward, and Crawford in ESPN writers and analysis. Let's start out with that. Mayweather, Ward, and Crawford, three of my favorite fighters. Mayweather is one of my top 5 favorite fighters of all time. Andre Ward is probably in my top 10. I know outside of fighters that's been fighting in the past decade or so, Ward was probably right after Floyd Mayweather. I know Lara's up there too. But Andre Ward, SOG, I love Andre Ward. Okay. I love everything about Andre Ward. Big fan of Andre Ward. And Terrence Bud Crawford is actively my active favorite fighter. All right. Ward and Mayweather retired. First off, we have to stop doing this because Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather, and Terrence Bud Crawford are 3 totally different individuals. I know that they're all black, but they all had different careers. One is still active and he's still trying to prove himself. So he shouldn't even be Crawford shouldn't even be in the same space as a Floyd Mayweather or an Andre Ward at this stage of his career. Okay. Now I know Bud was fighting around the same time when Ward was pound for pound. And Crawford was talked about being pound for pound as well. It's funny that's the one thing that's funny between the 3, because when Ward was considered to be pound for pound, they were having debates of seeing who should be above the other as far as pound for pound status. Because when Ward beat Kovalev, this was around the same time that Bud became undisputed. I remember that because I remember Max Kellerman, who is a white analysis, was having that debate with them, So I remember all that, but let's go back to the point. We got to stop just comparing the 3. Floyd Mayweather already did what he did, right? He did many, many great things. We can nitpick and if I were to say anything about Floyd, the one thing I wish Floyd did in his career was to become undisputed. He fought really, really good fighters. He's moved up. He had championships in 5 different divisions. He unified as a welterweight. But he never became undisputed. He never fought to be the undisputed fighter. He just never did it. All right. But he had an amazing career. And guess what? It was never enough. It wasn't. It was never enough. Right. And this weight, it's going to all come out. Just be patient. Just let me speak my piece. It was never enough for Floyd Mayweather. I am still getting people in my comments to this day, every day, that I can be talking about Chris Eubank Jr. If some random dude is going to come to my comment and say, yeah, but Floyd sucks. Floyd Mayweather. There are people that are obsessed with Floyd Mayweather. They hate Floyd to the core. I know, because I've been doing this for years. I've read all of the comments leading up to the Manny Pacquiao fight. So I get it. Floyd got crazy haters. I understand. It's never enough. But it's never enough to who? Like, who doesn't respect Floyd? What, Larry Merchant? Skip Bayless? Some crazy ass Manny Pacquiao fanatics that just hate Floyd? Like, who are we talking about here? Who are we talking about here? Who don't respect Floyd? And then when it comes to ESPN, as far as I know, I always seen Floyd whenever he was actively fighting, not when he retired after Ricky Hatton, not when he did a couple months in jail and came back out and fought Marquez. No, I'm talking about when Floyd was coming off as a champion, he was always pound for pound number 1. If it wasn't him, it was Manny Pacquiao. But it was usually Floyd Mayweather on ESPN. On ESPN. So I understand that there's a lot of people that are paid for the pay-per-views to watch him lose and stuff like that. But if Floyd was a top-ranked ESPN fighter, he would have been marketed as the number 1 pound in the world, which he was. anyway. He was that anyway. Let's move on to Andre Ward. Andre Ward. Who wasn't he respected by? Because as far as I remember, if we're going to really bring it back, if you brought up Andre Ward, what did everybody say about Andre Ward? He is the winner of the Super 6 tournament. Like, we was not letting that die. Like, he beat all of those guys in that tournament, including Carl Froch. He always got his love. There was only a few people that said, oh, he didn't fight. Who did he fight? Lucien Boutte. That's the only person that they would bring up. Lucien Boutte. Right? But outside of that, the only issue that Ward had was the fact that he had promotional issues. So he would fall back and he wasn't in the loop for a little bit. Meanwhile, Carl Froch was out here beating guys like who's the guy he fought twice in George Groves. So Froch was still buzzing, and he was on top at 168. He was still doing his thing. Meanwhile, what's his name? Andre Ward was having promotional issues. He had surgery with his shoulder, so he wasn't really active like that. So if anybody was not giving Ward his credit, it was because he wasn't active. It had nothing to do with what you just said. Ward was always respected. The only time people really hated Ward, it was 2 times. There was 2 reasons why I ever see anyone attack Andre Ward. It was first because people didn't believe he beat Kovalev in the first fight, which I actually gave Kovalev the fight by a point. I had it scored 6-6, and I gave Kovalev the extra point for the knockdown. So I actually scored a fight for Kovalev that night. And in the second fight, it was controversial because of the low blows. All right. Now, we all know I was on here rooting for Ward. But at the end of the day, the first fight was controversial because of the decision. And the second fight was controversial because of the low blows. Now, all of them was low blows, but some of those punches were low blows. It is what it is. You know, I was happy that Ward won, but was it a really clean win? No, it wasn't. You know, like we can say it. It is what it is. So when it comes to Andre Ward, people respected him. He was up there as a pound for pound number 3 guy for years. For years. Floyd, Manny, Ward would be right there. What do you mean it was never enough? No, never enough to who? Haters? Haters don't count. You cannot count haters. Are we also gonna not bring up the fact that they attacked Andre Ward just because they thought that Wilder wouldn't fight Fury again? What about that attack? I mean, outside of the Kovalev attack, I didn't see any other kind of attack on Andre Ward. And those were black people that was attacking Andre Ward. They was killing him on YouTube. And they were being disrespectful with it. They was talking about the fact that he's a half-breed. Are we not going to forget that? Those were black folks dissing Andre Ward. We got to be real. We got to be honest about this. I'm going to get to the point. But now we have Bud. We have Bud. We have Bud Crawford. Crawford, him and this Lomachenko pound for pound thing has been back and forth, right? But since Crawford was mentioned here, can we just don't we gotta mention the other fighters that was on the pound for pound list as well? Like, if they're claiming that Lomachenko is pound for pound number 1, and you guys feel like he did nothing to get there, which I agree with. I'm not saying he did nothing, but I felt like they pushed pound for pound on him very quickly. I do agree with that. He didn't accomplish as much yet, but he did accomplish a lot in the shortest amount of time ever. 3 division champion before, quicker than anybody. Champion quicker than any. Well, he tied being the youngest or the champion in the least amount of fights quicker than anybody. Who did Bud Crawford, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Canelo, who did they fight on their third fight? Who did they fight on their third fight? Go look it up and look at what their record looked like. You can't just his amateur background. That amateur background does matter. When you're the greatest amateur of all time, it does matter. When you are a 2-time gold medalist, you can't just act like that don't mean anything just because you became a pro. This is why he was able to beat guys on that level in his third or whatever, amount of fights he had. Bud, look at Bud right now. Who's attacking Bud? Look at the people that's attacking Bud right now. They're not the media. The people that are attacking Bud right now are Errol Spence Jr. fans. They're PBC fans. They're leaving comments in my videos telling me that your boy Bud is overrated and they're black. So what does race have to do with, you think he's overrated? Why are we singling out black people because you think Loma is overrated? What about all the other people that they put Loma ahead of on that pound for pound list? If they're saying he's number 1, oh, so he's over Canelo? He's not black. Oh, he's over Gennady Golovkin already? I mean, the pound for pound talk was like at least 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago. They put him over Bud. They put him over Gennady Golovkin, who's done much more than what he did at that time. They put him over, who else is out there? I mean, look, even Roman Gonzalez. I mean, they were marketing him as number 1 too, but Mikey Garcia, how many titles Mikey Garcia had in different divisions when they already were putting Loma over him? These are not black fighters. So don't just single out, oh, they just doing it over black fighters. You can't do that. You can't do that because there's other fighters that they put him over because they put him over. I don't think it should have been done that quickly neither. But at the same time, I'm like, well, he is accomplishing a lot in a very, very quick amount of time. And I understand marketing. I understand that pound for pound thing is all marketing. I'm not looking that deep into it. And I said this to you guys before. Same thing with Roman Gonzalez. You think ESPN would have been pushing Roman Gonzalez if he wasn't a top ranked fighter? The way that they were pushing him? I'm not trying to take anything away from his accomplishments because he was winning a lot of titles in different divisions and he was getting a lot of knockouts. I'm not taking anything away from him. But that was marketing. It was marketing. They do it all the time. If it's your fighter, you're going to make him bigger than what he is. It's marketing. It's not race. It's marketing. When they said Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez was number 1 and he was on ESPN with Bud, with Lomachenko, they were saying he's number 1 and he's not even white. He's not even white. He's fighting on the undercard of Gennady Golovkin, who was undefeated at the time, and they put him on pound for pound over Gennady Golovkin. So where's race coming in? Where's race coming in? And when I said I've been here before, I've been here before because I remember they doing this with, and now I'm switching. I'm moving forward a little bit because now I'm talking about the fight tomorrow. People want to see him get knocked out because they feel he's overrated. All right, cool. But people wanted Rigondeaux to win because they felt Loma was overrated. Talking about not getting credit, I was one of the very few channels on here that was telling you from jump, Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko is a mismatch. If there's a mismatch out there, this is the biggest mismatch ever. You got two Olympic gold medalists that are into completely different levels. I don't care how they promoted that shit. That was a mismatch. And I told y'all from day one, this is all about people's emotions. People wanted, they were pushing for that fight to happen. People were saying that Loma was ducking Rigo. And Loma was like, yo, I don't want to fight this dude. This dude is mad little. And y'all kept pushing it. No, he's ducking Rigo. Nah, he ain't ducking Rigo. I don't even want Rigo to fight her. I told you guys, I love Rigo. And I was like, I don't want Rigo to fight him. Because not only is Loma bigger than him, but the styles, it don't work for Rigo's. It's not a good style for him. It's not. I told you guys, but guys was letting this get into emotions. And this is why when Devin Haney comes into play, I see what was happening then. It's happening with Haney right now. It's happening to Haney right now. Because you guys are saying the WBC made that decision to protect Lomachenko from Haney. Because he's an undefeated black young fighter. Gary Russell was undefeated black. Nicholas Walters was undefeated black. Nicholas Walters stopped Nonito Donaire. Got him out of there. Undefeated. And he quit and retired. Loma made him quit and retire. Rigo, another black undefeated fighter. Leave the race thing alone, man. Like, leave that out. Just say what you feel. Say how you feel. But leave that alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. I don't like what the WBC is doing. I'm not caping for the WBC. I hate the WBC. I hate them the most out of all of them. I hate the franchise title. But at what point in Lomachenko's career did he duck Devin Haney? At one point. Loma won the vacant WBC title, and he's fighting Teofimo Lopez for undisputed in his very next fight. At what point was he supposed to fight Devin Haney? At what point? When? When Haney was out getting his surgery? When was that duck? I didn't see it. I missed that shit. When was that duck? When was the duck? Protecting Lomachenko from Devin Haney? Come on, bro. Like, y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better. I don't like the WBC. I don't like the franchise champion. I hate that thing. All right. I do think that fans of Lomachenko overhype him. They do. All right. He's not better than Floyd Mayweather. No, he's not. He just doesn't come in the game and no, stop. He's not better than every other fighter. I know what Joe Rogan said. I know that. Now, those are people that love Loma. All right. They were doing the same thing with Gennady Golovkin. Golovkin came in. They were lying about his title defenses, saying his title defenses were more than Bernard Hopkins. He didn't have a world title. He had a junior title, and he was having junior title defenses. Same thing with Loma. I don't like the fact that they're trying to lie, the fact that he lost the fight. I don't like that neither. I don't like that neither. Okay, I don't like when any of that shit happens. So I agree with that. I agree with you guys there. But don't make it like, okay, well, they just trying to keep them away from black fighters. That's not true. The proof, the record, the resume doesn't show that. So where y'all getting that shit from? Oh, Devin Haney is the guy now. And I said this in the video earlier. Devin Haney. I said this about this Devin Haney months ago. I said, Devin Haney needs to do his thing and stop worried about what people on social media platforms think about him. He needs to do him. He needs to get better. He needs to improve, because as soon as he do something that they don't like, they're gonna trash him, just like they did Andre Ward. When Devin Haney apologized for his comments, they trashed him. So Devin Haney needs to focus on getting better. Hopefully, Lomachenko fights him after this fight. I would love to see that fight, because Devin Haney is a WBC title holder. I don't like what the WBC did. All right. I don't like what they did with Canelo neither. You know, I want Jamal Charlo to get a shot against Canelo. I do. I really do. I've been saying that for years now. I want him, but can I prove that Canelo has been literally ducking him? Has he been ducking him because he's young and he's black? You know, do you guys feel the same way about the WBC and black fighters? Do you guys feel that same way about Dillian White not getting his shot with the WBC with Wilder, even though he was #1 for I don't know how many years now? How many years? How did Dominic Brazil get ahead of him? How many years? How many people did he beat? How many good fighters he beat as a heavyweight? And he still never got a shot. Still never got a shot. Dillian White is black. Or is he a different kind of black because he's from the other side of the pond? Like, what's up with that? What's up with that? We got to be consistent. We got to be consistent with that. If we're going to get the WBC out of here, we got to be all across the board. We can't just be picky and choosy. I don't like what he did with Devin Haney, but I'm with what he did with Wilder and Dillian White. No, we got to be across the board. What the WBC was doing with Dillian White, they was throwing so many people in front of Dillian White because they wanted him to get railroaded so he won't get his fight with Deontay Wilder. And that's exactly what happened. He finally got knocked out. And all those fights he had, all those good fighters he beat, former champions and stuff, he never got his WBC shot. But it wasn't a problem when it was Wilder holding the title. But it's a problem when it's Lomachenko holding the title or a Canelo Alvarez holding the title. I do not like, listen, you guys can track, like, my videos are still up. Check out my videos with Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux. Check that video out. Check those videos I did about that fight. Because on YouTube, at that time, people were pushing for Rigo to win that fight because they wanted Lomachenko to get exposed. It was all emotion. There was no logic in that fight. And people going into that fight. It was all emotion. Rigo, more technical this. And, you know, listen, I didn't like what, and I said this in another video previously. I said, I don't like the way they did Rigo. I don't like the way Top Ring managed him and stuff like that. I don't like it. You know, I feel like when Rigo beat Donaire, that really pissed off Bob Arum because Donaire was hot at the moment and Rigo made it look easy, beat him, and he shitting on him. He promoted him very poorly. And I'm mad they did that to him. But you know what? I can't go into these fight predictions being emotional like that. Because everybody's, listen, at the end of the day, everybody's overrated in some form or fashion. Everybody, including Bud. Brought up Bud as a welterweight. All right. I like the guys he's fighting at welterweight. I'm cool with them, but I want him to fight, you know, like the top guys. I want him to fight Spence. I want to fight Danny Porter, Thurman, you know, all those guys. Those are cool. Those are fights I really want to see. I want to see those fights. But let's be honest, and this is what my boy asked me yesterday. My boy USA MVP was on the phone talking about this last night. And he was like, yo, do you feel that what was I gonna say? Terrence Crawford for any future Hall of Famers? No. No. Maybe Amir Khan. Maybe Amir Khan. Maybe Amir Khan. But outside of him, nah. Not yet. You know? I think Spence, if Spence, you know, maybe Sean is a future Hall of Famer, maybe even Danny's a future Hall of Famer. You know? Maybe Thurman might be a future Hall of Famer. You know, I don't know. But I think Bud has a lot more to do, you know? But we can always have a debate with the current state of boxers. There's no one that hasn't really proven anything yet. Pacquiao and Floyd is in a different space. Let's stop comparing these guys, including Loma. Loma has done what he's done. He's done incredible things in a short period of time. And you know, if he is to come undisputed tomorrow, that is great. That's good for him. But Floyd and Pacquiao, leave them alone. Get them, like, take them, pick them up, and put them in a different space. They're not in the same category right now. Let's see where Loma is at when he's ready to retire. And then we can revisit the conversation. All right? He does have a loss on his record. His loss does matter. All right? But it's not everything. I'm not going to just keep bringing up the Orlando Salido loss. He did lose the fight. But guess what? He beat all these other people after losing to Salido. All these other people, and some of them would beat Salido. I believe Walters would beat Salido. I believe Gary Russell Jr. would have beat Salido. I think Jorge Linares probably would have beat Salido. I think Teofimo Lopez would have beat Salido. You know? But yo, let's just, like, you can say the same thing about every single fighter. You can literally say the same thing about every single fighter. Every single one. You bring up Devin Haney. What has he done? He hasn't done anything yet, but he's looking to get his opportunity. And I hope Lomachenko fights him next. I hope he does. But Lomachenko, up to this point, has not officially ducked Devin Haney. He has not ducked Devin Haney because he's chasing undisputed, while Devin Haney is chasing to become well, he is a champion, but he is chasing to become that next big dude. They're in two different stages in their career. Teofimo Lopez is more deserving of a Lomachenko fight today because of who he beat and how he beat them. He's more deserving of the Lomachenko fight right now. Now, after the fight, well, if Loma stays at 135, I would like for him to fight Devin Haney because Devin Haney has a title. But if you're going to get mad at anybody, get mad at the WBC because they protect everybody. They protect a lot of their fighters. And not all of them are, you know, none of it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I brought up the Wilder example. I'm sure there's more examples I can bring up. But everybody, in a way, everybody is never enough for anybody. It's never enough for anybody. All the people that thought that Loma was going to lose to Rigo, was it enough? Were people satisfied when he beat Rigo? No. As soon as you beat them, they become nothing. That's with everyone. Everyone. As soon as you win, they are nothing. They were overrated. They weren't that. It was an easy fight. They were too small. This, that, and third. Everybody, that's the same thing with Bud. It's the same thing with Bud. People that think Bud should be highly, it should be number one or whatever. All right, so you're saying there's always going to be an argument to be made. Oh, so are you saying Bud should be over Canelo Alvarez and Manny Pacquiao? Is that what you're saying? Should Loma be over those two? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it just a black thing? Or are there other fighters that get pushed down the pound for pound ratings, which is not even an official ranking. It's not, there's no official pound for pound ranking. Every website, every boxing website has a different pound for pound list. It's marketing. That's it. It's marketing, nothing more. We gotta stop like being obsessed with this pound for pound shit. Like that's why I don't even do videos on that, because it changes within the month. I don't want to keep updating pound for pound videos for what? For what? You know, like it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, Loma could have fought Mikey, but Mikey moved up in weight. We all wanted to see that fight. That would have been a great test for Loma. It would have been a legit win for Loma. But what did Mikey do? Mikey didn't want to stay down 135. Mikey said, well, if I beat him, it doesn't mean nothing. Well, what if you lose? It was a better fight. It was a better fight than ringing down to me. But Mikey wanted to move up and do things at welterweight. He moves up. That's not Lomachenko's fault. You know, Tank Davis don't want to fight him. That's not Lomachenko's fault if Tank doesn't want to fight him. People want to see the Tank fight. Tank doesn't want to fight him. He wants to fight him later when he's older. Like, I don't get it. Like, people are always going to be upset. It's never going to be enough. It's never going to be enough for any fighter. Not just black fighters, for any fighter. For any fighter. Period. It's never going to be enough. Everybody got haters. You can't, like, Larry Merchant is a hater. Larry Merchant is a straight up hater. He's a hater. Skip Bayless, he's a hater. He's LeBron. LeBron gonna win 10 more championships. Skip Bayless is gonna say he's trash. It is what it is. Like, my point is, we cannot let stuff like that like rattle us, you know? And for me to have a YouTube channel, I can't make videos based on emotion, like as far as, well, I don't like him, so I want him to lose. But I know he's way better than the person I know he's going to lose to. I can't do that because I would have a shit channel if I did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is always, there's always going to be something that you can point out about these fighters, that none of them are perfect. None of them. And none of these guys, what is Canelo has a way better resume than Lomachenko and Terrence Crawford, in my opinion. At least in my opinion. All right. It took him a long time to get there, but that's okay. You know, some fighters, this guy was fighting as a pro very young. Canelo didn't fight as an amateur like that. He fought as a pro right away. You know, when he fought Floyd, when he got to Floyd, he was already, you know, he had over 40 professional fights. You know, so did Floyd. Him and Floyd's record was almost identical if you're just looking at the numbers. But, you know, like, they had totally different types of resumes. The quality of the fighters was completely different. You know, but I was the person that used to think Canelo was ducking Lara until he actually fought him. And even though I think Lara won to this day, I know the fight was close, you know, but he got a win over him. You know, hey, it is what it is. But we're not going to always be satisfied in who we want. And that's the way boxing is ran. Unfortunately, it's like that. We're never going to be satisfied. There's people that Floyd didn't fight that I wanted to see him face. All right. I don't think Manny Pacquiao won those Marquez fights. I don't think he won the third fight. I thought he got a gift in that fight. You know, I think even Marquez, I think out of the trilogy, I actually did a video on this years ago. I think there's fights, you know, that I don't think Manny won. You know, what if Castillo did get the decision in the Floyd fight, in the first Floyd fight? What if he got the decision? He got gifts. He got gifts. It's okay. It happens in the sport. Everybody got gifts. Everybody got gifts. Every great fighter got a gift somewhere. They had a tough fight where the judges gave them a pass. It is what it is. It's part of the sport. It's part of the game. It's always been part of the game. There's robberies out there. People get them. You know? It is what it is. But what if Floyd got that loss on it? It would have changed the whole aspect of things. This whole undefeated thing. It wouldn't even exist right now. I mean, I'm glad he won. He won in a rematch. But anyway, yeah, I just think, listen, going into the fight tomorrow, it's cool. People want him to lose because they feel he's overrated. And my argument is everybody is a little bit overrated. Everybody. And in some form or fashion, everybody's a little bit overrated. And a lot of it has to do with fanboys and marketing. Those two, those key things. If you're a fighter fighting on whatever network you're fighting on, they're going to boost you up more than you probably should be. All right. Lomachenko, try to remove that loss that he got. That's funny shit like that. People hate it. I hate it too. For me, with the guy personally, I don't really have no issues with him. He's a good fighter. He's an amazing talent. I like watching him fight. He's doing his thing. He's getting a lot of wins, good wins, solid wins, while like in a short period of time. And that's all we gotta really say. That's all I really gotta say about him. I'm gonna read a couple of the comments here, see what you guys are saying. Lara lost to Canelo. I thought Lara won. Lara didn't beat Canelo worse than Floyd. Who said that? Nah, I didn't say that. I don't know who said that in the comments, but somebody said that in the comments. Nah, I thought Lara won. Canelo won. Canelo landed a lot of body shots. Lara landed a lot of shots up top, and that's the way I saw it. That's the way I saw it. By the way, I did watch the press conferences. I did see that a lot of people were saying like Teofimo Lopez was like nervous or whatever. I think they're both nervous. I don't really look too much into that because we've been wrong plenty of times. I think we try to do too much when we're trying to study how the fighters are and the weigh-ins and the press conference and stuff and determine who is going to win the fight based on that. Like, oh, he's a few pounds like more. Oh, like, nah, like the fight. I just want to see a fight. I don't want stuff like that to change my opinion on how the fight is going to go. Like, it's not going to sway anything. I mean, you're nervous because it's a big fight. It's an undisputed fight. It's big. You think Lomachenko's not nervous? I think Lomachenko's nervous too. Yeah, Floyd did beat Canelo clearly. Really, really clearly. But Canelo improved dramatically since that fight. Shout out to Canelo. He's a good fighter. But even with the Triple G fights, what if they gave Triple G that win? The first fight. Just like I said, like that was a gift. That's what gift for Canelo. A draw. The second fight was a little bit more debatable, but they're all nervous before a fight. Yeah, Gabe. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Lara made Canelo a straight body puncher. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's based on preference. I know Canelo was the one coming forward and stuff like that, but Lara wanted it to be like that, for he can snipe him with that left hand. Yeah, Tony Harrison was in Jamal Charlo's head in the rematch. Remember, even though he was winning, how that ended exactly. Tony Harrison was definitely winning the battle of words, but look how that fight ended out. Fight Haney for undisputed. I want to see the fight. I want to see the fight. You know, I want to see the fight after these guys fight tomorrow. If Loma is to win tomorrow, if he wins, I want to see him fight Devin Haney, and then he could go on for do whatever he wants to. You know, but look, people are never going to be satisfied. There's always something else you can do. If you become undisputed, there's people that they're going to feel you didn't face. Okay? Look at Bud. He became undisputed. He had a title at 135. He's at 147, and people say he fight bums. He's overrated. He's ducking guys. He signed the top rate in order to avoid PBC guys. There's never enough. And these people that are saying this are PBC fans. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be something. You know? But yeah, when it comes to Canelo, like there's fights that I don't think he won, you know, but you know, it is what it is. Johnny boy, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, I try to be honest. I'm being honest. You know what? Real talk. Because a lot of you guys, I recognize your names. A lot of y'all been here for a minute. A lot of you guys are not new. I like to create an environment where we're talking like if we are all in a room together. I don't like this, like the trolling people, you know, like people that just want to like say some slick shit and then disappear under their burner account. Somebody left me a message on my Instagram today under a burner account. Basically, he was a Wilder fan. He was just like, yo, you always talking shit about Wilder. You know, he said something crazy and then he disappeared. And it's like, I get one or two of those every once in a while. But for the most part, most of the guys that leave comments are well, you know, some fanboys and stuff like that, but mature type of comments. I like that. You know, we don't always have to agree, but let's talk like we in a barbershop, just chopping it up about some boxing. I actually just left the barber. I didn't know if y'all noticed. Shit kind of fresh right now, you know? But yeah, I just left the barbershop. We was actually talking about Tyson and Roy Jones in there. All right. But yeah. Like, yo, we can disagree. Like, I don't even care if y'all say Loma's trash, you bugging. Okay. I don't think he's trash. He might be overrated a little bit, but I hear you. But I think everybody's a little bit overrated. You know, I love Bud. I like Bud way more than Loma. And guess what? Even he is a little bit overrated. I think Spence is a little overrated too. You know, I think Amal is overrated. But we can't just say like these guys weren't getting no credit. And yes, they were. Ward, you know, they were getting credit. You know, they were getting credit. If you look at Loma, he gets a lot of criticism. He gets a lot of criticism. And not from necessarily like Lomachenko haters. I think he gets criticism because there's some there. You know, I'm just picking up guys, Kovalev, Gennady Golovkin, guys that were pound for pound or is pound for pound or were pound for pound at some point. They all got criticism in one way or another. They got some. It is what it is. Get those likes up. You know? But don't say the hate is always coming from a certain racial demographic. Don't say that, because it's been proven many times over, but it's not just another group or a specific group of people that's attacking these fighters. Sometimes it's across the board. You know, I was there doing videos on Gennady Golovkin against a Willie Monroe Jr. And I remember there was black channels that was picking Willie Monroe to beat Gennady Golovkin. You know why? Because they didn't like Golovkin. It happens with everybody. That's all I'm saying to y'all. I could give you a million. I've been on YouTube so long. I could give you a million examples of where the same thing was happening to a quote unquote white fighter. It's going to happen to black fighters. It's going to happen to white fighters. It's going to happen to Hispanic fighters. It's going to happen to Asian fighters. You know, people say Nui is overrated. Okay. Well, he's beating people up and he's stopping them quick, and he's moving up and getting channels. He's getting champions in other divisions. Where's the overrated? Where's it coming from? Even if he loses, he's not overrated. He's one of the top guys. He's one of the top guys. Why is he overrated? Wow, how? Oh, Donaire already beat. Donaire already lost to other fighters. Yeah, but Donaire lost to fighters in bigger weight divisions. He's fighting at 118 right now. He's fighting at 118. That was a big win. Donaire was putting in work at 118. Think about it. Someone that big, that quick, being able to fight at 118. Come on, man. He got stopped by Nicholas Walters at 126 and kept pushing. Where's Nicholas Walters at right now? He's gone. We don't even know where he's at right now. So we can't just be, come on, we can't just be hating on fighters like that, y'all. Like we gotta be better than that. And when we talk to a hater, when you hear opinion from a hater, that's it. Block it. Now if you got logic, you bring in facts, you bring in logic, you bring in good examples, then I hear you. We might disagree, but I hear where you're coming from. But if you just saying anything that's negative, oh, come on, man. I don't even want to hear what you got to say. T.O. is extremely flat-footed. He will get murked. LN. Trying to say your name now. RVY. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Him being flat-footed, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing if you know how to be flat-footed correctly and and it fits your style and your strategy. I don't think there's anything wrong with being flat-footed. Like Triple G is flat-footed, and he was getting a lot of guys out of it. There's a lot of good flat-footed fighters. It's just trying to put more power down. That's what that means. That don't mean anything. But yeah, like IBT. The only way Lomachenko is overrated is in the all-time sense due to his resume. He won't be able to have the old ATJ status resume if he retires semi-young because he hasn't been pro way enough. Yeah, I just think it's too soon to put him up there with Pacquiao. Like as far as recent fighters, I just wouldn't put him up there with Pacquiao and Floyd. Like, I've been reading some comments that saying, oh, people are literally like bringing up Floyd Mayweather in my Lomachenko videos. And I'm like, yo, chill out. Like, no, he's not on a resume tip. Even if he is undisputed on a resume tape, no, he's not better than Floyd Mayweather. Like, stop it. He's not better than Manny Pacquiao neither. Stop it. Leave it alone. Let him do what he got to do. He got a long career. These guys are retired or semi-retired or halfway retired. Let them keep doing what they got. Like, let Loma breathe. Let him get to that stage on his own. You don't have to vouch for him. You don't have to fanboy him. If he's great and he's the greatest, he'll prove it. But let him prove it. If he gets knocked out tomorrow, stop calling him the greatest. Even if he wins tomorrow, stop calling him the greatest. He's not the greatest. He's not. But everybody's overrated in some form or fashion. Everybody. I can give you a million examples. Everybody, there's something that they didn't do. Something they didn't do. Pacquiao, Floyd won titles in a billion divisions, and neither one of them ever became undisputed. And that's okay because they made history in their own way. They don't all have to do it the same way. They don't always have to do it the same way. Everybody's different. Oh, Tim Bradley actually meant to bring up, shout out to Jorge. I was going to bring up Tim Bradley in my point earlier too. He's another fighter. Who was he attacked by? Manny Pacquiao fanboys. He was attacked by them. They was leaving death threats because of that decision. All right. But later down in his career, after all of that was over, who else attacked him? Who was calling him a coon and all of that stuff? They didn't look like people from the Philippines. I can tell you that much. Hate comes from all different directions, and a lot of it is from your own people sometimes. And that's why I said, like, yo, my man that left the comment that I was talking about earlier, if you guys are just tuning in, I said a lot in the beginning of this video. So just check back later. But you can't just make it race-based on every single situation. And you can't just put black fighters all in one box as if they're not their own fighter that made their own history. They have their own legacy. They have their own, their life experiences. They're not all the same. We're not all the same. We're black. I'm black, but we're not all the same. We think differently. We have different views on things. We don't have to be all the same. Like we all, just like other people from around the world. People around the world might have the same skin color, but we different people. Like you can't just say that, they all it's the same thing all happened to them. What happens to other people too that are not black? Feel me? Who the fuck leaves a death threat for an athlete? Sports aren't that serious. Yeah, well, apparently, Danny Green, the basketball player on the Lakers, he got death threats from missing that shot last week, playing against the Heat in Game 5. Like some of these fans are real talk. Since we're talking about it, we just talking now. I'm just chatting now. Since we're talking about it, I think the worst comments that I ever received in any video was the Manny Pacquiao Tim Bradley 2 prediction. Now, if you go back to that video, and it's a very old video because that's a very old fight, a lot of the comments are not even there because I had to block so many people because I was getting a whole bunch of racist type comments. I didn't get any death threats, but it was like, it was out of control, like the comments that I was getting. It was like, it was a massacre in there. So I can only imagine what Tim Bradley, I got a YouTube channel. I got a bunch of death threats because I thought Bradley was going to win the second fight. I was wrong, but I remember leaning towards Bradley only because I like the way that he finished the first fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think he closed it out good. So I thought going to the second fight, he would pretty much, have things more under control. He lost the fight, but man, these people came back and was calling me all kind of names, man. And it is what it is, But I've gotten the same from my own people too. Whenever, they disagree with me about the fighter they like too. It happens, It is what it is. But yeah, let me read some of the comments. Yeah, folks are going to always troll and stuff like that. Let me tell you, I go to the fights. You guys know I go to the fights and I run into people all the time. And no one is ever hostile. Even like the people that I run into that are like, they disagree with whatever video. You no one's ever like hostile when you meet them. It's just the internet. That's how the internet is. The internet is a place where you can just go in there and create an account and just say whatever you want, be whoever you want to be. Loma is not the best fighter now. I think it's debatable, but I don't think he's the best. I think resume rise, it's well, obviously it's Manny Pacquiao because he's still active. But if it's not Pacquiao, it's Canelo, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think Canelo has the best resume in boxing, and I think it's by a lot. I think the names as far as wins, official wins, not like the wins based on opinion. I'm talking about official wins on his resume. I would give Canelo as the best fighter in the world based on his resume, his physical, like his actual resume, proof. What do I thoughts on Nonito Donaire? I see him as De La Hoya type, a guy who dared to be great and took some losses, but considered, yeah. I think Donaire should be a future Hall of Famer someday, I would like for him to be one, and hopefully he's not too. I know we taking a little break. I can't remember if he has a fight coming up. I think he does. Nonito. Does he have a fight coming up? What's the Donaire doing? Oh yeah, that's right. He's fighting Ubali. Okay, so yeah. And I actually think he's gonna win that fight. Well, at least I hope he wins. Yeah, yeah. That's right. Ubali beat Inui's brother. He beat his brother. But Donaire, yeah, man. I hope he wins, man. If he could pick up another title, that'd be great, man. Because let me tell you something. In the early I remember when Donaire was a pound for pound fighter at one point. And he was legit. He just lost to Guillermo Rigon now, and he has setback a little bit. But Donaire was always doing his thing. Boxing Logics, thank you for the $5. I don't know what you're laughing at, but thank you for the donation, man, and thank you everybody for the donations this past week. I appreciate it. There's a lot of great channels out there, and I know you can be watching them and donating them. And please donate to whatever channels you support that do live chats or whatever. If you can donate to them, please donate to them. I like to go to different channels and just pop in. Sometimes I'm not there long. Just pop in, send a donation if I support them, because you want them to have a reason to keep going in this boxing thing. This is very time consuming. It requires a lot of studying, a lot of researching and stuff like that. So you want to just keep supporting. All right. Yeah, but please get those likes up. I want to do a video about Demetrius Andrade. I'm going to just do a separate video probably after I do this, but I do want to speak on Andrade. I just want to get my thoughts together to speak on him and how I feel about him. So be on the lookout for that. Again, tomorrow is a big fight. I'll be on here live around 7:00 p.m. tomorrow. So make sure you guys, check in. Yeah, your boy Jones. I did put up a video on Jaron Ennis, and I spoke on him, and I spoke on Virgil Ortiz Jr. I did that. I put that video out yesterday or the day before yesterday. So it's one of my last videos. Check that out. I will be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, with you guys. All right, to cover the fight. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. We should have a good time. I'll definitely be covering the entire preliminary fights as well. All right. And the remember, the pre-fights are on ESPN Plus, so you have to have the app, I believe. And then the normal main card starts at 10 p.m. if you're gonna watch the fights. Real quick, who you guys got for tomorrow? I want you guys just who you going for tomorrow? Who you got winning? Who you got winning tomorrow? I want everybody just Loma or Tio. Loma or Tio. Just say one of those two. Loma or Tio. Who you guys got all the way down? I want to see Loma. I don't see no Tios yet. One Lopez, two Lopez, but mostly Loma. Mostly Loma's here. Okay. And again, Fimo, devastating knockout. Yeah, there's some people out there that think that T.O. I'm picking Loma, but I got Loma by decision, but it's a dangerous fight, man. And if T.O. knocks him out, I will not be surprised. Because T.O.'s legit, man. But I think Loma's gonna do it, man. I think Loma's gonna win the decision. Should be a good fight. Chase Athletics, thank you. Thank you for the support. Real quick, I'm gonna get out of here, but where's everybody from? Where's everybody from? Just want to check in. Where are you guys from? Where you guys are viewing this, watching this from? Kentucky. Cincinnati's in the building. Amsterdam, London, UK. Ukraine is in the building. Okay. We know who you want to win. Sweden, Serbia, Dallas, Texas, Puerto Rico, Space. All right. Nigeria. Shout out to Nigeria. Scotland, Russia, Chicago, Charlotte, Austin, Texas, Arizona, Jersey, California, Puerto Rico, Ukraine, Minnesota, Poland, Arizona, Cali, Honduras, worldwide, man. That's crazy. People from all over the world is watching me right now. That's just crazy to me. San Antonio, Hungary, New Mexico, Pangaea. I don't know that one. I'm not familiar with that one. Sorry if I butchered it. Toronto, Croatia, Spain, LA. Damn, man, none of y'all from New York? Jesus. Ain't nobody from New York checking in today? Oh, man. All right, y'all. Listen, it was fun. I'll be on here tomorrow. I'm going to try to do a quick video on Demetrius Andre, though, before I get out of here, but I might not have time. I got to run out. But I'll be back on here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. We'll be on here. We're going to talk boxing. We're going to do, I'll do the commentary on the fights. And we're going to have a good time, man. And I see you. Thank you for again, for anyone that has donated to the channel ever, period. I don't care if it's $1. It's just, that's cool. Just supporting. That's great, man. I appreciate that. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. I've been active on Twitter. So if you want to just ask me a question directly, hit me on Twitter, BoxingWave10, at BoxingWave10. Hit me on Twitter. Hit me on Instagram, BoxingWave10. I'm on Instagram. Whatever platform is best for you, follow me on there. We could talk, chop it up, talk boxing. All right. I'm out. Peace.